Welcome to the world of scale modeling with Mike Ashe, where techniques, tips, and creativity come alive with dozens of tutorials, projects, tape-up reviews, and picture references to help you build better scale models and enjoy our wonderful hobby. Welcome to part 2 of our 4-part series on building the Revell Renwal 1:200 scale USS George Washington with a full interior. In part 2, I'm going to show you how I do my masking, and we'll do some detail painting with an airbrush as well as a detail brush.
What I've done is I have primed and airbrushed with Testors enamel flat black the complete outer surface. I did this to both sides of the sub, and the inside has been primed but has not been painted yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the interior with these Testors flat green with some flat white added to it, and I always mark my bottles. So this mixture is ready to go, and there's more than enough here to both do the interior, and also all the vertical bulkheads will be painted this color. Then what I did was I added more flat white to it, and you can see the difference in the colors here, so that there's a variance, and all the horizontal surfaces, the decks, will get this lighter color. The interiors of ships and some submarines were painted this kind of this lime green color. For years the Navy used this. I know that they've made changes, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this way. So all the vertical surfaces are going to get this flat green with a little bit of flat white added to it to lighten it up, and then the horizontal surfaces are going to get the same flat green but with much more flat white added to it, so it's lightened up even more. So when we get back to the video here, I'll show you what it's like on both sides of the hull when it's done. But I really like this black color. It looks very dark and sinister, which is what submarines are. I've seen some subs with a lower red hull, and I've seen pictures of other subs in dry docks that are just pure black or dark gray. So I've chosen the more sinister appearance of flat black. The interior of the side of the sub that's going to be flipped down came out very good. And here is how I taped it to prevent bleed over. So now what I have to do is go ahead and remove the tape, and then I'm going to paint this area right here on the edge red. And I'm going to try two methods. I'm going to try a Sharpie, which I think will work really well, and I don't have to worry about paint bleeding on the side. And I'm going to try an enamel paint marker and see how that works. The tip is fairly small, and I think I can get along the edge here without any bleed over, but we'll give it a try and see how both work. So I tried the indelible marker, the red Sharpie indelible marker, and it didn't work as well as I thought it would. I couldn't get a consistent color across here, but this inking pen worked really well, and it's got a nice tip on it, so it's fairly easy to control the paint as it comes out. The one thing I found is don't start and stop. You got to have one smooth long pattern for the paint, and I put 3 coats on it, and it came out pretty good. I'm really pleased with the result. So I highly recommend trying one of these paint pens. Now that I've got the base coat down on all of the small parts, now it's time to start detail painting. So what I've done is I use small strips of masking tape to outline the areas that I'm going to airbrush. Here's another example. And multiple layers of small strips to outline the benches and this piece here. And then what I'll do is I'll double face some tape, lay them down on some foam board, and then cover the area the exposed areas with larger strips of tape so that I won't have to worry about any overspray. The sub, the outline, I used again that red marker, and it came out pretty good. So what I've done here is I use small strips of boxing these protrusions, these square protrusions and rectangular protrusions that I'm going to paint a light gray. And I've got enough masking tape laid out here for some overspray, so I don't have to worry about ruining the interior color surface. And what I'll do is I'll use about 10 psi and very carefully spray these along the edges, top, front, left, right, and then the face, here and back here. And then when it's dry, I'll just carefully pull the tape off, and we should be ready to go. And then I'll go ahead and I'll be able to pick out these details here with the tip of a toothpick. I was practicing here and here, and once I spray this, and then I'll go ahead and do it again. So I think it's going to come out pretty good. So let me go ahead and airbrush this, and then I'll get back with you and show you what it looks like now when it's done. The interior areas that I had masked off have been airbrushed, and I did it with very low pressure, and it came out pretty good. So now the challenge is to get all this tape off without taking up any of the green paint with it, because I have had some problems with the paint pulling up on this plastic, and I think it's because the surface is shiny, and in areas where I did not use a very fine steel wool pad on the surface, the paint is having a hard time sticking. So keep your fingers crossed, and I'll get back to you in just a minute as soon as I remove all this tape.
I was very careful about removing the tape, and luckily none of the paint came up with the tape. The end result looks pretty good. There's no bleed over, and the next step will be to add some detail work with a fine detail brush and the tip of a sharp toothpick. And the stern looks pretty good too.
I've got preliminary masking done for the oxygen bottles and acetylene bottles on the vertical bulkhead sides. And you can see I use small sections of tape to outline the areas, and then I'll lay it down on a piece of foam board and then use larger sections around it to cover the rest of the surface area. On the torpedoes, the front half here will be red, and so what I'll do is I'll lay these right about like that, and then cover this area here, line them across, and then cover this area here so that I can spray it one time all the way around it. So it should work out pretty good. And as soon as I get everything laid out on here, I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'll airbrush it and show you the finished product. The parts have now been attached to the foam board, and notice they're completely covered all the way around, so there's no opportunity for airbrush dust to get underneath the tape anywhere and mar any of the other surfaces. So these would be painted the flat red with a little bit of black added, so it's a blood red color, and I'll use that same color on the torpedo heads. Notice how I've put additional tape along the length of each torpedo and then attached it with double-faced tape to the foam board. So this is going to make it really easy to airbrush it in one session. Start removing the tape and see how they look. I removed the tape on this first one, and came out pretty good. So let's get the rest of them.
I'm going to speed the video up here and save some time. And I'm not going to remove the tape from all the torpedoes. I'll just show you what they look like when all of the tape is removed and all the torpedoes are laying on my workbench. Notice how I'm using the tip of the number 11 blade to carefully peel off just the edge of the tape and then remove the rest of it from the tip of the torpedo.
A lot of torpedoes, and I'm going to have to repeat this masking procedure and put a piece of tape right around this area here and then just airbrush that brass color on the back. So let's turn our attention to these. So let's see how these came out.
Notice how I'm manipulating the tweezers to catch the edge of the tape, and I'm working around the outer edge and then working towards the center and then peeling the tape out of the center.
I'd also put masking tape on the inside of these areas where the decks are going to slide into.
For all my masking needs, I like to use 3M painter's masking tape with the red cardboard center. The tape is really good and you can cut very thin strips with it.
It's looking pretty good. I removed them on this side. I removed them on this side. What I'm going to do here is for the area between the acetylene bottle tops, I've got some paint that I'm going to put in between here and just let it bleed down here with a very fine detail brush. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a few minutes.
As I started to peel off the masking tape from the second bulkhead, some of the paint actually came up with the tape. I've had this problem on smaller parts, and I think it's because the plastic is so shiny that the enamel paint is having a hard time sticking to it.
See, this has been a problem I've had with this plastic. In some places, the paint is just not sticking. So I've got to touch that up, and it's not going to look 100%. I don't understand. This is the first time this has happened in 40 years. And it's not the paint. I believe it's the plastic. It happened here too. Here and here.
I'm going to speed the video up just a wee bit to save a little bit of time. And notice how I'm using the tip of the number 11 X-Acto blade to peel up the edge of the masking tape to facilitate its removal. And you just need to be careful when you do this so you don't gouge into the paint. And now it's time to paint the areas between the tops of the oxygen bottles. I'm using the tip of a very fine detail brush and dipping it into the top of the paint cap and very carefully applying small amounts. I'm also frequently cleaning the tip of the paintbrush to remove any excess paint because you don't want too much paint on the tip of that brush, otherwise it'll spill over onto the red areas of the oxygen bottles. I'm using an IMAX detail brush, and it's really hard to find these paintbrushes these days. I found these brushes at Hobbytown, USA, but for some reason they stopped carrying them. But if you find them, buy them because they're very good detail brushes. Notice how I'm using my fingers either against my other hand or against the part itself in order to steady the tip of the brush. This is very important for detail work. You have to be able to support your fingertips while you're doing this kind of fine work. This concludes part 2 of our 4-part series on building the Revell Renwal 1 to 200 scale USS George Washington with a full interior. In part 3, we'll continue the detail painting and we'll add a whole bunch of decals to the interior bulkheads and the flooring. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. And when you get the chance, visit our website at www.mikeashley.com, where you're going to find dozens of free PDF downloads, including tutorials, picture references, model galleries, projects, and my 5 original scale modeling books. Thanks to Ben Sound and Videvo for the royalty-free music, and happy scale modeling!